Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today we're going to be painting an American flag. This will be a great tutorial if you're interested in learning how to paint folds in fabric with a design. There we go. I am live. Perfect. I love it when it works. You know how it is. And of course, I'm going live, so now my voice is going, but that's okay. Anyways, hopefully everything is going well. Hopefully there's nothing strange happening with the video. It's kind of dark out, so I have all my lights on. Let me see if I can. Oh, one of my friends is trying to get on the live. Let's see if she can get on by clicking the link. Sorry. Anyways, today we're going to be painting the flag because it's Memorial Day. I don't know what your plans are. The weather's not that great, so you're probably inside. But here is my sketchbook that I painted the other day. Do you know finding a reference photo to paint the American flag has been so difficult? Like, I found one that I really liked, but then when I counted all the stripes on the reference photo, it only had 11 stripes, and you know there are 13. One for each original colony that started the American country, America. So this one I had to kind of improvise to make enough stripes on it. But today's reference photo, I think, does have 13. I think I found it. Yeah, that one has 13. So this is my reference photo that I'm going to be using, and it's going to be great. And it's watercolor, so it doesn't have to be perfectly rendered, but as you can see in this one, I did create the folds and the movement of the flag. So that's what we want to kind of do. We want to have movement in our flag, and we want to let that pattern keep going. So I remember back in college when I painted in acrylics, but I painted plaid, and it was amazing how realistic you can get something to look when you're doing the folds in it, and you just got to keep the pattern going where you think it would go. A lot of times with my pet portraits, I'll have a dog sitting on a bed or a blanket or something that has a pattern to the fabric, and I'll have to render that pretty good. Hey, June, thanks for showing up. I sent you the link. I was like, what? She's having trouble? What's going on? But it was so much fun yesterday, y'all. June came to the class and a bunch of other people. Let me show you a picture of all the amazing art that was created. So check this out. We had a pretty full class, and everybody's artwork turned out amazing. I think Beth is going to join us on this YouTube live today. So hopefully she's here, because I've been texting her this morning. Let's see. So let's look at my desk. We'll look at my desk right now. So I'm just picking out some brushes that I think I'll be able to use for today. I like the round brushes in various sizes, so like a larger one and a smaller one, or medium one. If you're going to be doing the American flag and you don't want to have to render all those stars, just get yourself a little white gel pen. So if you don't have one of these are pretty easy to find. Michael's carries them, Hobby Lobby, I think even Walmart might have them. So I prefer this brand. It's called Jelly Roll. And the size 8 is my favorite size. But they do have them in various sizes. And what else do we need today? If you want to, so like what I did after I painted this flag, I went through and used a pen and just kind of made it more defined. So this was real pale, but the pen work actually makes it look more defined, and I kind of like that. But maybe we will do a little more rendering on this one. I may even use this flat brush just to get some water on the page. And my Jesus Calling is here. Love my Jesus Calling. I used to have my kids read it out loud to me when we were driving to school. And, whatever the day of the week was. And they would read it to me, and they always had a better day at school when that happened. I think when we start our day with Jesus, it always is better. So I just have these 3 brushes. Now, these 2 cups of water have been on my desk for a while. This one is definitely dirty with the sediment at the bottom. This one's kind of clear. So we'll see if I'm going to use one of those. This is an 8x10. I cut it 8x10 because I think that's the best size you can use for framing if you don't want to have to do a custom framing order. But if you do need a custom framing order, I highly recommend, there's a couple places. But my daughter, she works at Michael's and does framing there, and she is fabulous and a perfectionist. So if you want a really perfectionist job, you can take your art there. Also, my friend Tracy has a frame shop in Daphne. So the frame corner, and she does a great job. So what are we going to do first? Let us see what we're going to do first. Drawing. Now, if you don't have a pencil, you can use a lot of different things, I think, to create a little sketch. You can do pen, but this pen is not waterproof. You can use a ballpoint pen, which I don't know how light fast that is. Or you can even use just a light wash of some of your paint and a brush to get a sketch going. But for me, I'm going to try this without too much fussy drawing. Not too much, because this is the pole. I may end up framing this so it can be displayed for the 4th of July even. But a flag has definite dimensions. I once painted my flag, the American flag, ginormous, on a ginormous canvas. It was like 4 feet by 6 feet, maybe not quite that big, but you have to custom make it because it's going to be the dimensions, which I think is 13 to 6. I can look that up real quick. Flag dimension. Because the flag dimension has to be specific. It's saying 3 feet to 5 feet, 3 by 5. So that's probably what I had. It's a 10 to 19 ratio. But what I was trying to tell you earlier was that all the things I was watching online were, all the reference ones were definitely off. They were off, y'all, by a lot. Like they had either 11 stripes or they had 15. I mean, nothing had 13, which I don't know why, but there's supposed to be 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's supposed to be 7 up here. 1, so I may have to change. 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or maybe there's 7 down here. I don't know. So we will double check. I'm gonna make sure I've got this. See, that's only 11. That's why it's so crazy, y'all. Trying to get this just right. I may erase this bottom one and then go with 2 more. No. All right, so this is a rough drawing, right? And it's not a drawing class, so we're just gonna go with that. Not a drawing class, y'all. But if you are interested in a local drawing class, maybe I should do one. I wish I was super good at it, but I'm not. Make that pole a little bigger. There we go. So it's really hard to see my drawings. Hey, Lively. Beautiful art of colors fabric. Oh, interesting. Okay. I do not have mods in the chat. So if something happens in the chat, let me know. Because I'm not that good at it. Okay, so we're going to mix up colors. So American flag has red, white, and blue. So I'm going to use this blue that's already kind of on my palette and mix a little bit more because we're going to need a lot. So this blue is really pretty. But I like a more navy blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of the dark blue in with this. I think that one is aquamarine, possibly. And shadows in the folds will probably have a little bit of a darker color. So I'll probably add Payne's Gray to the shadow sides of the fabric where it bends. But basically this is going to be my blue. Now I'm going to pick out a red. So I have a couple reds here. And I know that's kind of a yucky, dirty color now. But that could be good for the shadow side. And we're just going to keep adding some red in there till I like it. I think that's a good red. And geez, no white. That's because white is the paper. We're not going to worry about that. So what I'm going to end up painting on here, and I'm going to do something that's called wet on dry. So the paper is not wet, the paper is dry. And I'm going to use this blue, and I'm just going to very lightly fill in this area. And it's just started raining, y'all. It's a rainy Memorial Day. Do you guys have plans, or are you staying home? What y'all doing? A lot of people like to go to the beach, go out on boats. What I love about watercolors, look at this. I can deposit some of that. Let me see. You guys can see what I'm doing. See how when I lift up the brush, how it deposits some paint? So if you don't want a big blob somewhere, just spread it out like that and then lift over there. And that'll work. Or you can lift your paper and just let it kind of flow. You can move it around with that because water is fluid. So it's going to be very, be able to move it around. So now I'm going to go a smaller size brush. And you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm going to dip it in the red. And we're going to start, it's going to start red, white, okay? Should end with red. Let us hope. So if you want, I will start off this one. And I'm very carefully going at this stage because it is stripes. And if your pattern that you're trying to paint has flowers on it or a different kind of pattern than this does, what you'll have to do is if you don't have a reference photo, that's going to be hard. But once you have a reference photo, just follow what it says. So I'm going around like this. And I probably should count these stripes down here. So I'm starting it like that. See how it's breaking a little bit, like it starts off that way and comes down this way. So we'll see if I've got enough stripes. So not trying to be too persnickety because it is a loose painting, but for the most part, this is how we're going to do it. And can you see what I'm doing? It's already starting to look like a flag, so it's great. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be 7. And see the fold right there is starting to change a little bit. And fix that just a little. Right now, this stage, I'm just trying to get the folds of the fabric. And maybe my drawing's not going to be perfect. I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is probably why a lot of times people put more stripes or less stripes, because they get started and they're like, wait a minute, everything's flowing together. But definitely end with red, start with red. But if you're doing your own flag from your country, if you're not from America, it'll be good. It'll be good. So let me count these. 1, 2, 3, 13, y'all. 13. Very good. So we got that started. Pam, hey, thanks for joining. It says you're home from the hospital after having emergency oh no, surgery and a feeding tube placed in to order keep your blood sugar safe. Oh my goodness. I am going to say a prayer for you. Dear Lord, just be with Pam and help her be in no pain and just completely heal her. In the name of Jesus, amen. Amen, y'all. Jesus hears our prayers. Already I'm liking this. Like I'm already liking how this looks, okay? I don't know if I'm even staying true to my I did not stay true to this. Look at all the folds in that. I did not stay true. Oh well, that's okay. That's okay. No one's gonna see it except you. You guys see it. All right. So now what I'm gonna try and do with this is add some of the folds in there. So when you put a layer over the top, you end up making it darker. So 2 layers now of this will make it darker. And so what I like to do is put it in various places. So the folds look like they're a little darker. Now this could be a little bit better as far as making it more realistic, but we are a loose watercolor painter. That's me. I'm a loose watercolor painter. So for me, it's going to be way better to not be fussy yet. No fussing. Don't want it to be fussy. Already it's starting to look great. Look at those darks and lights. That's what's going to give your painting a lot of character and a lot of realism is if you focus on dark and light. So now I'm going to add just ever so slightly a little bit of that red into that blue. I might have put too much, but we want there to be a fold possibly around here, possibly around here. Now I'm going to rinse because that is very dark and add some blue back in because I like how this might look better if it's darker anyways. Right? So that looks pretty good. It's got a little purple in there. If I don't like it, I can always add more blue over the top when it dries. But this is going to have some colors in there. Now my white, you notice I didn't paint the white yet, right? So the white is not painted. That's because that's going to be, the paper shows the white. But we do need to make those shadows on the white, which if you look at this photo, it looks kind of gray. And so I have some Payne's Gray. Let me show you right here. This is green, but I might mix it with the red and make all three colors. Who knows? Sometimes you can play around and make some different grays. I like Payne's Gray. That's like one of my faves. I'm trying to figure out where my reference photo on my phone is so I can look at that instead of keep switching it on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint where the shadow would go. So shadow definitely here, definitely here, and definitely there, possibly there, a couple right there. And I can overdo this. So tell me to stop. Say stop. Stop or you will be bad. I don't know. That could be good. That might be too many shadows, but I think it looks good. No one's going to be like, oh, that's terrible. Actually looks pretty good on the screen. Another trick, if you guys are watercoloring along, take a photo of your painting and look at it on your phone. You'll be like, oh, that doesn't look as bad as I thought. Now, I may want to just go over this a little bit because I think that was too purpley. So I kind of like that blue. So there's no white stars in there. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to use my gel pen at the end and set white on top. Now you can use, this is something I've used. It's called Bombay White Ink. Can you see that label? India ink. Dr. Phil Martin. It's a liquid acrylic ink. So once it dries, you cannot paint over the top of it. But I like to use that sometimes. Acrylic paint is great for that. So I've got this going on. I think it looks good. The pole in the reference photo, so I see this pole is kind of brown like a wood. Let's see if we can achieve that color. So, and you might think, oh, just use brown. Well, I'm using some orange, some brown, and I'm going to mix it right in here. And I'm just going to do a real quick wash. Let's see if I can do a close-up if you want to see the close-up. So I am just painting the little top. Of the ball on that flagpole. And then I'm going to very carefully make a straight line. So that looks fairly good. It's hard to get that over there a little bit. Oh my gosh, it's looking good. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so this is just out in space with no background, right? We need a background in our flag. It looks like there's sky and some shoreline and water, which I live near the water. Everybody probably out on a boat, or would be if it wasn't raining and storming. So let's do that. Let's do the sky next. So if your flag is not dry, you will want to make it dry. Frankly, I can do it really quick with this nice little heat tool. That's good. Just want to get the shine off of your paper. If your paper is super shiny from water and you touch some paint here to paint and that was wet, it would bleed into what you're painting. And then you would be very disappointed in that. So now I'm going to do the wet and wet technique, which you guys have probably tried before. So we're going to just make a little horizon line with my pencil so that I don't mess this up. I think right here would be a good horizon line. You could use a ruler if you want. I'm just eyeballing it. So now all this is going to be clean water. And you can see that does have some tint to the water now that I've rinsed my paints, my brushes. But that's okay because once I start painting with the blue, red is very staining, y'all. I don't know. But once I paint with the blue in here, it's going to be great. So all this is going to be sky. If you're curious or interested in doing a class where I paint clouds and you just do different skies with clouds, let me know. So now I'm going to paint a different blue. This blue is cobalt blue. And I find cobalt blue is great for skies. Okay. And so I'm going to paint all of this a sky blue. Now this is going to look so great framed. I am not worried that it's not perfect because it's just going to be some kind of decor in my home. And I think it'll look great with my husband has a flag folded up and framed. I think it was his grandfather's. I could be wrong. I'll have to ask him whose it was, but I think it was his grandfather's. So this is almost like a blue wash for the sky. Now, if you want some clouds in there, which I think would be really easy and fun to do, we could put some clouds. And the way I put clouds is use a paper towel. You can dry your brush on the towel. So now your brush is pretty dry, and you can use your brush to shape some clouds in there. Clouds usually are flat on the bottom, and they don't always go horizontal. Sometimes they go in a vertical way, but we'll see what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to lift, keep drying it. If it's not clean enough, just rewash it. But that's kind of a fun way to add some texture to your sky, is to add some little wispy clouds in there. Now I could go back in there with a round brush. Here's my round brush. It's kind of a large one. And let's see what happens if I just add some blue and try to shape some more cloud in there. Everything is still wet on this guy, so it helps. It helps to move it around, so I know I'm not going to get a lot of harsh lines because it's still really wet. Going around that kind of carefully. Let's see. Oh, you know who I forgot to invite? All my little painty ladies from Tuesday. So I probably should have sent it to them. I'm just going to make this a little bit more I want to add some more blue in there just cuz it's kind of cool. And maybe a little bit more blue in here. There we go. I'm liking how that sky kind of looks. Fix this just a little bit. And notice I went over my flagpole. I don't know if you can notice. If I zoom in, you probably can. I'll show you what I'm going to do to fix that. So I just rinsed my brush and cleaned it on a paper towel. And I'm just going to fix that. If it's not coming up, rinse. See how you can erase with watercolor? And that's so easy. So easy to fix. Okay. So that's really looking great. I like how this is looking. I had to get some water splatters, but that's okay. If I am not liking this sky so much, I can always go back over it and add some more blue, the cobalt blue. I can change the shape. See how it's still really wet and it spreads out? That is because I have really nice paper. The nicer your paper, the longer it stays wet and you can continue painting on. So if you're a newbie to watercolor and you're struggling to create wet and wet skies like this, you'll need to probably upgrade your paper. Because if you don't have good paper that can endure all this water, you might get frustrated. So I always say upgrade your paper if you can. It does cost more to get Arch paper or a high quality professional level 3 paper, but it's worth it if you want to do watercolor. Continue to do watercolor, I should say. All right, so now we're going to look at this bottom part that is the ocean area. And that could be a whole nother class, is painting water and waves and things like that. I am pretty good at painting all the waves and things. So I may do a quick, just real quick, I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm going to add turquoise to our blue. I need some turquoise in there. All right, some turquoise is great. So now I'm going, this is not even wet and wet. I'm just going. This is scary, y'all. Scary. That's okay. Sometimes you just gotta be daring, right? Now, the water further away is going to be a little bit lighter, it seems, in the photo reference. But we want to keep around the flag. Don't paint over your flag. And work quick. This is something I always say. Gotta work kind of quick. And remember, if your flag is wet, make it dry before you do this. Now, your sky being wet and your water being wet is fine for now. Because sometimes you want it to kind of bleed and look a little fuzzy. Because it's far away, and like if you don't have good 20/20 eyesight, it's going to look fuzzy. At least to me without my glasses on, it looks fuzzy. So now I've done this, right? I don't know if my skyline is straight. It may not be. It's okay if it's not. This is when I can fix things. So I got that going, and that's going to be our water section, right? And just smoothing out some things that look harsh. I don't want them to be harsh. Now the water is going in a direction. So you'll see there's darks and lights going on in this section down here. So I'm going to add some Payne's Gray to my blue. And see what happens when I add some waves with that Payne's Gray. Need a little more. So now I'm just I'm letting my eyes look at what I see on the reference photo. And I can do, I think I need more Payne's Gray. Am I almost out? Come on, come on. There we go. Just need to water it down a little. So see how that looks? And they're already looking like waves. But as the waves get further away, they're going to be smaller and smaller. So I'm going to switch to a different brush so I can get that smaller wave pattern. And if it's not doing anything, just let it dry a little bit. Sometimes our paper is too wet. So when you're using arch paper, it will stay wet longer. But I am going to add some of the streaks in there. So that looks fairly good. And it doesn't have to be, this is not like our final, so we can let it kind of dry and then we'll come back and add if we want to add some things in there. But that's a good start. I kind of like how loose it is. It's not real detailed. I am going to dry. I'm going to dry a section that I need because it needs to be more firm, like foundation of the land. All right, that's good enough. I'm going to mix green now for this land area. So I'm gonna just dig it in there. I like to mix my two greens sometimes. I already have like a spot on my palette right here for it. And if your green is very vibrant and like clean, straight from the tube colored green, because mine's already kind of dirty in there, so it's kind of showing a good color. But if you want to tone down your green, just add a little bit of red. Like not a whole lot. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. See how it's changing color? Just a little bit of red does that. So now we're going to add that just for this land at the horizon. And the horizon kind of goes up as it goes this direction. And I'm going to deposit a lot of paint in there, let it kind of do what it's going to do. And there's a lot of sailboats in the background of this painting. Almost feel like maybe I will avoid that. Not do sailboats in the background. Because maybe it's unpopulated island. That's an island somewhere, right? That might be kind of nice to just leave it just green. Now to add some variation into that, you could add a little bit of yellowish orange and see what happens, just to give it a little bit of like vegetation is on there. So just let that dry like that. So it's really pretty. Let me see if I can do up close of it. So see, you can tell that I dropped a little bit of that light orange in there with the green. It's just kind of doing its thing. So we're gonna let that dry. I may want to do my flag a little darker on this section. So I might just put it back into my blue that I made earlier and trying to follow all of these little shadows on here. That might work. So just kind of, it's shiny, it's kind of hard for you to see it, but the waves in there. And if I don't like how that looks, I can just rinse my brush, dry it, and then just smooth that out if I don't like where that is, the shadow is. So I can change anything I want. It's not set in stone. But that's looking pretty good. I'm liking how that looks so far. My water needs a lot of help. It's so bad, really. Maybe it's kind of damp, but it's probably at a point I can try and fix it up a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of that blue from the sky and add some turquoise. Now I have all of it is mixed together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the waves a little darker. Okay. So down here, I want you to kind of see it up close. So down here, I'm going to try and keep the waves kind of flowing in one direction. And you can make it as detailed as you need it to be, just to give the illusion of water. See how I'm kind of going over what I've already done? And they're bigger wave patterns closer to the bottom and smaller wave patterns closer to the top of the page. And I'm going to just try and go right up to that. And I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to rinse my brush just a little bit. And I'm going to smooth out some of these areas. See how I'm just smoothing that out? That makes for realistic water. And I'm trying to just do a little touch here and there. But it's looking pretty. You want to kind of preserve some of those lighter areas, so don't go over the whole thing. Try and preserve some of those. But if you see it from far away, see how that looks like water? It's looking good. So I'm going to get a little bit more paint. I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. Just add these little lines for the waves. Uh-oh, what's that? Little dot on my paper. I like it. That's okay. Sometimes you get a little dot on your paper. If you don't catch it in time, you'll have to re-wet it and dab it out. But that one I caught pretty quick. All right, so I've done some lines in here for the water in the background of my painting. So that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna do a little bit more on this side. I actually want this to be darker. Hopefully that's looking straight. So not good when you don't have a good drawing. Try and get a better drawing than this one. If you can. But I think that's gonna look good. You know, framed on the mantle. I don't know. Do you guys decorate your mantles like for the holiday, whatever holiday it is? Like I still have Easter out. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't taken down Easter yet, but I need to. I need to. All right, so let's see. This is very, let's see if I want to add any more areas of shadow onto this. I think just leaving it like it is great. I like how that looks. That looks very nice. I think it's pretty much done, except for the flagpole does need to have a shaded side. So we're going to go smaller for the brush. Do that. Smaller one. And we'll just mix up another little thing of brown. A little bit of brown right there. A little bit of this burnt umber, burnt sienna mixed together. I like doing that. And a little Payne's Gray. Look at too much Payne's Gray, maybe? I don't know. Might not be too much. So we're trying to figure out where the sun is coming from. It could be from the right or the left at this point, but wherever we put that shadow will dictate where that sun is coming from. So what I'm going to do is put it to the left. So the ball has like this little rounded area. And this is what's very, if it's a straight line, you gotta try and be very careful. Sometimes a smaller brush is good. If you have really bad hand-eye coordination, doing this will be harder. But it's just like signing your name when you start to do painting. If you're not practicing every day, you're not going to get better. You got to start practicing. Now, if I made that shadow too dark all the way down, which is kind of hard to see unless I show you zoomed in. Let me see. Is that better? You can see it. So it's kind of darker on one side. I may even just go in with my Payne's Gray and really let it do something there. It might be too dark with the Payne's Gray. But that does make it really dark. Maybe too dark. Might rinse my brush. I mean, everything dries lighter, and now it's just a clean brush. I'm going to lift. Ta-da! And now it's not dark, but it's still there. There's still a shaded area. And we do have about 10 more minutes. I wanted to show you for sure what I do for the white stars on here. Now, I will zoom in because it's going to need zooming. Zoom in, zoom in. Where's my white gel pen? So I do have two sizes. I'm going to go with the bigger size, the size 8 or 08, I think. And I'm going to show you real quick. I'm not making 50 stars on this, okay? We could count them all like we did the stripes, but we're just going to now if your paper is wet, it's not going to work. So we're going to do 4 stars right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and we're going to do just like this, same, and then in between. And we're just kind of going really, there's a fold here, so we're not trying to make the shapes perfect, okay? We're just trying to get those folds. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, you were so perfect with those other aspects with the stripes. I feel like that's really important to get right. So every artist will know whether or not they have something that matters the most to them, okay? So I just did that real quick, and it doesn't have to look perfect, okay? Oh, hey, Simona. Oh, it's Layla. Hey. Happy Memorial Day to you. Oh, you love the painting. Thank you so much. You definitely could try this. I think you're good at drawing, and this would be an easy one for you. But I just added the white gel pen to make the stars, and they don't have to be super realistic, okay? Now, the thing about the island or the land mass over here that had a bunch of sailboats, now we could, in theory, do something with the white gel pen here, right? My land is still really wet. So I'm not gonna do too much with it because this is not working on anything that's wet. But it could be something fun if you wanted to do something in here with the white gel pen after it dries. You could add boats or something in there. The one thing I did notice on the flag, if you look at this reference photo, there is a white area right here that's like the connecting area for that. That's a lot of white for me to do, but I could use a white gel pen and just very quickly add it. Or I could paint it with my Indian ink in a brush. So what I might do is show you guys what I'll do. So I'm going to put a little bit of this Indian ink in the bottom of a cup. I just use this one. It's great because I like it. You could use gouache if you have white gouache. You can use, and they do sell it. This is called Chinese white watercolor. And, you know, it's also kind of thick. And you can use that. Just stick your brush in there. Well, we're going to use this Indian ink. But I'm going to use a brush that's not used for watercolor. And the reason is I don't really want to ruin a nice watercolor brush with this Indian ink. But if you can see, that is on there. So what I'm going to do now is very carefully paint that white area. And if you did this with your white gel pen, it would take you a hot minute. Let's see, get that right up in there. And see how that is? I'm trying not to be too crazy careful, but I think that adds a lot to it. And now I'm going to rinse that off so it doesn't sit on my brush. Make sure you clean your brush really good after using Indian ink on it. And I'll just let that dry in there, and it doesn't matter. I keep that in the little thing. So I think we are done. I think we're done. I think it looks good. It will look great framed. Da-da-da-da. And you know how I like to, oh, did I tell you guys about the nest on my door? Let me show you a picture of the eggs on the nest. In the nest on my studio door. So I have a reef on my door, and these little eggies are in the nest. I remember the birds building the nest, and I remember 4 birds being right outside the door when I'd open the door. And I was kind of curious, like, why are there 4 birds instead of 2 birds building a nest? So if you can see in this photo, there are 4 eggs that are kind of a pale blue with speckles. And then there's like this other egg that's got a ton of brown speckles on it, right? And it's a little bit bigger. So that's a cowbird. Those cowbirds don't make nests. Cowbirds don't make their own nests. They don't raise their babies. What they do is they will go lay 1 egg in another nest that has been built by another pair of birds, and that baby will hatch, and the foster parents are going to feed it, and hopefully they will be able to keep up and feed all 5 babies. But if not, that cowbird may push those other babies out. I hope not. They are kind of mean. The cowbird is kind of mean. If you try and remove that egg, the parents of that egg will come back and destroy the nest or destroy the other eggs. So you cannot remove it. You have to just let nature do its thing. But I thought this would be kind of a neat picture to paint. I've done this before. Last year I had a nest on there, and they did not have a cowbird last year. So I don't know why the cowbird is in there. That's just crazy to me. But yeah, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated. I've been posting pictures on Nextdoor. I don't think I posted any on Instagram or Facebook, but the coolest thing, y'all, I've been looking at my YouTube channel and how it's growing. I'm at like 995 followers or 994, something like that. So if you haven't liked the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed, that would help me reach 1,000. Also, just watching my videos, maybe put them on in the background. I need a lot of watch hours to start getting monetized. But that would be so cool. But also just to push it to more people, because I hope that by me starting this channel, I've encouraged someone to just pick up a paintbrush, pick up some paints, use some paper, and start making art, right? Be creative, explore different things you could draw. You can use acrylics, you can use oils, you can use mixed media. Sometimes I use a gel plate and make papers with different colors, and then I cut them out in collage onto a canvas. So I've done that. I just experiment with a lot of different art forms, but watercolor is definitely my favorite. I really enjoy painting that. And so if you can see, this is my finished painting. It looks pretty good. I probably would have smoothed out this area a little bit better. I think I drew that a little weird, but it's okay. It'll work. It'll work. So now we do the little magic. Pick a Bible verse. Wow, this is a good one. Okay, well, they're all good ones, right? But I mean, my favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. But this one that I just randomly turned to is Psalm 37:5. And it says, commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him to help you do it, and he will. So commit your life, commit your work, commit your hobbies, commit your kids, commit your husband, commit yourself. Everything, commit it all to the Lord and trust him to help you do it, and he will. So that's what I think is the key takeaway from this verse, is that you can trust the Lord to help you accomplish the things that you are committing to him. And don't we want him to be involved in everything? We don't want to just segment, put him in one spot and say, okay, I'll let you have control over this section of my life, but the rest I can handle. No. We need to put it all in his control. And he's the one with the best plan for your life, if you trust it. And even when there's trials, so not everything's going to go great. Sometimes they're not perfect, right? And the situation looks very bleak. But if you follow what David in the Bible was doing, and he wrote a majority of the Psalms, he trusted the Lord in all circumstances, even when he wanted to take things in his own hand, or if his buddies were saying to do something like killing Saul, because he was supposed to be king instead of Saul now. But he knew the Lord had a plan for Saul, and that he was not supposed to kill that guy. He was supposed to wait for the Lord to do the plan. And of course, Saul didn't know the plan either. Nobody knows the plan. We have to trust. And it's every day is a new day. Every day is one step. Every day you just keep praying and you keep trusting. And just know that it's not gonna be over until Jesus returns or you go to be with him. And that's what I think is important. Do not have any fear. You're starting a new business. Do not have any fear over that. The Lord will provide, or he won't, or he will bring you through it in another way. So that's what I think. If you're starting a relationship with people, just trust in the Lord. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it's not meant to. So you got to trust in the Lord. And if you follow what the 10 commandments are, you're probably going to have a much easier life than if you try and do things your own way. But that's a whole nother sermon, right? But I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope that this little bit of scripture at the end has blessed you. Thank you, Layla, for the amens. That's always encouraging. And I just hope you guys have a blessed Memorial Day. And I will see y'all next Monday. Mwah.